Hey beauties, it's me, Sarah Burns, ritualist, seer, teacher of oracular arts at the Lighthouse Academy. And today's little musing is on how to read the future, specifically some of the lessons I've learned along the way. So we're going to take you all the way back to 16-year-old Sarah. And I was in this alternative school and we were doing a talent show. And everyone rolls up, there's guitarists, there's jugglers, maybe there's somebody that's spinning a hula hoop. And then I roll up and I need 3 people for it. I have this huge roll up piece of parchment paper. And so I have 2 people holding it, one person slowly rolling it. And I have decided that I'm going to teach about the Hopi prophecies. And I have written and drawn, I think, like 8 different prophecies that they had done that had come to fruition. And so I was telling everyone, this was my talent show, was informing people about prophecies at age 16. So as people were, I was showing them the images, and a big lesson that I was trying to relay and that I was digesting for myself was that the thing with prophecies is that we don't always understand what they mean until they occur, and it can become really, really obvious. In the specific situation with the Hopi prophecies, a lot of their visions are very earth-based. So you have to understand that when you're receiving imageries about the future, our cognitive mind can only see so much, can only understand so much, or like correlate so much details to our lived experience, because the future could have a lot of variables or even concepts that we're not used to or that we can't wrap our brains around. So things like with the Hopi prophecies, they would have visions of cars and airplanes. And so that was really far out from what was capable and at that time. So of course they saw it in an earth-based way. They saw it as beetles walking across on this black ribbon across the land. And then they saw the ribbon shake and the beetles flew off. And then there was all these beetles in the air. So why I'm bringing this up is I believe a lot of us are actually having prophetic images or dreams. And it's learning how to understand the difference between when we're having some kind of prophetic psychic hit, or if it's just kind of what's the difference between foreshadowing and just like having some vision that isn't aligned with the timeline. And so what I mean by that is that I've always been really delicate about treading through the future, because I do believe it is fluxing. It is changing and adapting, and we are organizing ourselves with our will and our actions to align with different future potentials. So even with the Hopi prophecies, what they saw was, if this doesn't happen, here are the steps along this timeline. Here is the visions and the prophecies we see being enacted. If humanity doesn't get their shit together and start being nice to one another and seeing that we're actually all in it together, and that we are needed to be this complete organism to really thrive here on Earth. Anyways, so with prophecies and with going through different timelines, it's important to learn how to differentiate between the timelines that are closer to what's possible. And so I'm starting to get a little bit better at feeling the difference. And I call it like a velocity or a sensation or a weight that I can feel when I'm having a dream or I'm having a vision and it's applicable. And so for some of you, this may seem super far out, but for those of you that this message is for, you might be able to understand what I'm saying. So just recently, I had a dream, and it was about a birth that was coming. And it was interesting to notice when we are having dreams or prophecies, and the part of us that also resists the information that's coming. So, in some of the dream that I was having, I was like, oh, I really didn't like this part, And I've had this happen with a friend of mine who had a vision and a dream journey about my last labor with my son. and both are like, oh yeah, maybe like, could this change? Could this be something else? And like the mind wanting to kind of lean into the aspect that was more comfortable and lovely, but realizing that the thing with these visions and prophecies is they're actually giving us information so that we can prepare ourselves accordingly and be more prepared for whatever comes your way. If that variable, if that timeline that you're seeing with these images or with these warning signs really is to pass, then at least you've had some foreshadowing. So with my birth, I had that dream and I was able to at least be like, okay, I'm going to take heed of this vision. I'm going to put different pieces in step and in the way to support me if some of these aspects come to be that both me and my friend are like, oh, I don't really like that. And so I think that's the key with prophecies. It doesn't necessarily change what is going to happen, but it can help you emotionally, physically, just lifestyle, prepare yourself in a way that when whatever's coming to you comes, it's like you're able to be grounded as you are navigating through it, that you're able to feel empowered and really just not dissociate, not so being really present with whatever life brings us, because it's when we dissociate, it's when we feel out of our body, when we try to numb out from the situations that we don't like that are coming our way. Like, well, that's where trauma is stored in the memory scapes. That's where we can make really shit decisions that keep us in a trajectory that we really don't want to align with. And so the power of being able to, how can I prepare myself to navigate this, whatever challenging situation is coming my way, so that I can maintain a sense of calmness and centeredness and preparedness, that I may, still using my free will, because y'all, that still exists, use my free will to maybe pivot out of that trajectory that maybe is going to go in a way I really don't want, escalate, right? So I do feel that the beauty of working with the future is we can also work with free will, and we can do it in a really empowered way, so that if anything, we're just we're steering our life onto another path. When you can see, okay, I've already enacted this pathway. And so like what I mean by pathways is there's certain hints. When I get visions or future readings, it's like I get these little breadcrumbs and they're showing me if something happens that's part of this breadcrumb, I am on this trajectory. I am enacting this pathway of occurrences. Okay. And so just knowing that, then you get to be like, okay, I'm going to slow down. What can I do to pivot and shift my reality, shift my mindset, shift circumstances, make new decisions that are going to at least navigate me off of that timeline. Does that make sense? Anyways, I'm super curious to hear what you think about that. And just a reminder that we have a 5-day free challenge coming up, and it's called Message Received, and it is a psychic development challenge where we're going to be going through 5 of the different psychic senses, because I believe each of us have different ways that we receive psychic impressions and messages and prophecies, or tracking information from the past that we need to move forward. So check out my links for that. It's coming up on July 17th to the 21st, and there'll be replays available if you can't come live, but it's gonna be super yummy. And I look forward to supporting everyone in developing these really ancient and imperative arts that we need more than ever. All right.